Hey gang, Mark Sweeney here from Austin Dental Spa in wonderful moderate temperature Austin, Texas. That was Spooky from Classic 4 back in the 60s. And why did we use Spooky Girl? Because tomorrow is Halloween, and this today is the last version of Rocktober, where we've been rocking the whole month, telling you lots of important, fun facts about things we thought would make your life better. And today was no different. I tried to combine rock and spooky, and that song just came to mind. So there will probably be a lot of spooky girls out tomorrow night, especially down on 6th Street in Austin, Texas, celebrating Halloween. And I'll be giving you a tip at the end of the presentation today about how to have a safe Halloween tomorrow night, and one thing you should not do for Halloween. That'll come up soon. But in the meantime, first of all, we're going to talk about being afraid. We're going to talk about some research that was done at UC San Diego. I love when these research projects are done within the continental United States instead of too many of them were done over in the UK or done in Japan and places like that. But this one is a good old USA, California version of, these scientists at UC San Diego found that human beings, and they did the tests on mice actually, not rats, on mice. So we know that mouse brains are similar to human brains in the way that the neurons fire, and so they do a lot of experiments that are easy to extrapolate to the human body. And so this one, the scientists actually in the neurology department found that human beings, like mice, have a fear switch in your brains. So without trying to turn this presentation too Halloweeny, is that even a word? Can I say that on the air? Anyway, these guys found that humans have a fear switch, and it's regulated by neurotransmitters. And they found that in the mice, they haven't done this in humans yet, but they suspect that it's true. There's a neurotransmitter called glutamate. And so they injected, I believe, glutamate into the mice, and then they had put a fluorescent protein that got picked up in the nuclei of the brain cells, and so that they could monitor the mice reactions. I'm having to say mice instead of mouse, but anyway, they looked at a specific part of the brain called the dorsal raphe, and they found that this area of the brain, as well as in humans, is responsible for mood and anxiety. And so what they did is they scared these mice. And I don't know, they didn't say in the study, at least the briefing that I got, they didn't say how they scared the mice. I don't know how hard it is to scare a mouse, but they found that when they did scare the mice, that normally the glutamate that is in the brain gets taken over by GABA, which a lot of people take for depression and pain relief. Actually, GABA. I forget. I used to know what the G and the A and the B and the A are for, but those are both neurotransmitters. And normally, the GABA would shut down the neurotransmission of the fear response, but they found that when they scared them and they had glutamate in there, that the GABA couldn't do its job and shut things down, so it actually provoked and increased the fear response. And they suspect that this is the same thing that happens in human beings that are suffering with PTSD or panic disorder, anxiety disorders, and such as that. So by eliminating the GABA response, the fear factor increased. They also found that the fear response could be lessened after the fact if it was treated with an antidepressant called fluoxetine, but only if the fluoxetine was injected immediately after the fear response. So the significance of this all is that people who suffer with PTSD, with generalized fear disorders like anxiety, probably depression could be thrown into that whole thing, that scientists are studying a way to moderate that fear response to either they know how to increase it, but they also are now learning how to use drugs to decrease that fear response and keep people from having such a magnified reaction to something fearful. So I thought that was interesting stuff for the day before Halloween. And now here comes the big tip that I told you about. One thing that you should try not to do on Halloween. What would you think it is? Drive. They have done studies and found that the number of auto pedestrian accidents skyrockets on Halloween. Why? Because kids are out in greater numbers after dark and they're wearing costumes which either have masks that decrease their peripheral vision so that they don't always see cars coming, and their excitement level is high, so they're more likely to run out into the street to catch up with other kids or to go to another interesting looking house while they're trick-or-treating. All the while, you've got adults that are out there, some of us, me starting to get included, avoid trying to drive at night because we don't see as well if there's an oncoming car with the headlights on bright. I have to kind of look away or stare at the white line on the street. But in pedestrian areas, a lot of times they don't have those markers that kind of give you some bearings, and you got kids running around. So the public safety people are saying, if you don't have to drive, then don't drive on Halloween night and just make it a safer world. So that's my last Rocktober and spooky news Wisdom Wednesday of the month of October. Next week, I'll introduce you to November's theme, and we're going to have some fun with that, with my 3 big holidays coming up: Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. People eat stuff that they don't eat the other 10 months of the year, and those 3 holidays pretty much keep us dentists in business for the rest of the year. So enjoy your Halloween. I'll be back next week for the first Wisdom Wednesday in November. Stay safe.